In today's video, we are going to develop this application in Flutter, and this is the layout of our application. So here we are going to input a number. For example, I input 23, and then we click on this button, and the 23 is passed to a new screen. This is a new screen, and 23 is passed to the this screen, and now it is showing in a text field widget. So this is the text field widget. And now here when I press on this update values, I click on this update values, then uh, one should be incremented in this value of the text field. So I click on update values, and I can see now it is changed to 24. I click again, and it is changed to 25. So I click on this back button, and I go back to the first screen where the value was there. So this is the app that we are going to develop in Flutter, and we need to plan whether we need to use the stateful widgets here or stateless widgets here. So in our previous tutorial, we learned that whenever there are some inputs involved, like we are going to take some input from the user, then we prefer the stateful widget because they maintain the state of the variables across the function calls or when the button is clicked. So here, as long as this screen is concerned, I'm taking an input and just pressing the button. So here, again, this input is changing. So this means that here I need something that maintains the state. So let's develop this application from scratch, and then let's see uh, what we actually need here. So we begin by developing the interface of the first screen, and we can see that it is basically containing a text field widget, uh, and then a button, and then there is some text showing here. So let's begin with defining, calling the constructor material app, and then in material app we are going to call our first screen. Let's name it the input screen, and then we define the class of input screen. Because we are going to take input from the user, the class must be derived by the stateful widget. So class input screen extends stateful widget, and then we have input screen. Let's call the constructor, and then we have this override method, override state input screen create state input screen state. And now we define our class, this one, where we define the interface and all the actions. So let's define the class input screen state extends, and here we are going to paste this thing as it is, extend this, and then uh, let's call the override method, and then widget build context, and then we have this scaffold widget we are going to call scaffold. And in the scaffold widget we want to call the safe area widget, body safe area, and child padding, and padding, in padding we use edge inserts, dot all, and let's set the padding of 20 from all sides. So that's why we are calling edge dot all. And then the second property is child, and in the child property we want to call a column widget, column, and then in column widget we set the property cross axis alignment, cross axis alignment dot start, and then we call the children property, and let's define the first child as a stateless let's define the first child as text widget, input a number like this. So this is the text widget, and then we can define a text field widget as well, text field, and in the text field we can define the controller property that we are going to define shortly. And then let's define the third widget, elevated button. In elevated button the uh, so the child property, let's set this one, and let's call it like send value, and here is on press, so let's for the time being make it null, and this send value should be in a text widget, so let's surround it in a text widget, let's text, yeah, like this. And let's see our interface. So we can see that by writing this code we are having now this interface where we have a text field widget, and then we have send value. Because we have not assigned any method to this send value, so therefore it is disabled. So now we need to define assign a method to this one, and basically what we want to do is that when this button is clicked we should navigate to the new screen. So for that what we can do is we can define the second screen. So let's define the second screen. So let's first define it as a stateless widget, and then we see that what is the disadvantage of defining it as a stateless widget, and then we will see what we can do to fix that. Stateless widget, and yeah, so let's define a string value, and then super dot key comma required this dot number. So we called the constructor, and now we defined the build method, and override widget build context, and here we define the code for the build method, like to display the value. So what we can do, let's call here uh, scaffold widget, return scaffold, and in scaffold we can use the property app bar title text display screen, and then the next property that we want to define is the body property of Stateful. So body, and in body we call again the safe area widget, so that the text does not go out of bounds. And here in this safe area we are going to call the child property, and again in child property we are going to call the padding, and then in padding we are going to call edge insets dot all edge insets dot all. Let's set it 20, and then we have this child column cross axis alignment dot start children, and then we have this let's call a text widget here, text, and in this text widget we want to display the number that we have received, like this. So number, so this number that we are going to receive will be displayed here, and so we have not yet called this display screen, so let's call it, and we are going to call it over here using navigation code. So here in front of on press we are going to insert our code for navigation. So we remove this null from here, and then we are going to add a method here like this, and here we are going to call the navigator dot push, and the first argument is context, the second argument is root. So this second argument is the material page root basically that we are going to call. So let's insert the material page root here, material page root, and we have first property as builder. In this first property we are going to basically call an arrow function context, and then we have this name of the screen to which we want to navigate. This is display screen, and here it has automatically inserted the argument. Basically it is expecting something to be passed from here, because uh, we have called this argument in this constructor. So now we need to provide this thing that we are going to pass, and basically this thing is something that we are going to take from user from the text field widget. So this is our text field widget. Currently it is empty, we are not taking anything. Here we can do is we can define the controller property, controller property, and in controller we call the number controller. So let's name this variable as number controller, and then we define this variable at class level. So we can define it over here. So it's like text editing controller number controller is equal to text editing controller. Now the next thing we want is we want to assign the value of number controller to here as a parameter argument to this constructor call. So number controller dot text. This is what we need to write. So when we write this number controller dot text, this means that the value of this text field or whatever users is inputting on the text field, like this text field will be assigned here to this name argument. So it's key value pair basically, and then it will be received over in this constructor. And there is an error that we can see. So basically what we need to do is we need to add a comma over here, and now that error is gone. So we are sending value from where there is another method that we are not in that method we do not pass anything here, and we call the property root setting property, and using root setting property we can send the values as key value pairs. So there are two methods, and now let's run this and see whether we receive the value or not. Now we can see that this value is received here and it is showing here in this text field. Now the question is that can we modify this value when we are using a stateless widget? So let's try that. We need a button here as well. So let's add a button, elevated button. So under this text field we can add the button, elevated button, and in the child property let's call text update and then here on pressed, in the on pressed we can call a function or method, and here we need to write something that update the value of this text field widget. So what we do is we define a method for this elevated button on pressed, and let's assign something to this variable number, because it was not declared as final, so we can overwrite its value. So on pressed, let me set some value, number equal to, for example, 100. Yeah, like this. So let's rerun the app, and I pass something from here, send value, and I now click on this update, and I'm seeing that I can see that nothing is happening here. So despite that I am assigning this value here, it is not updating on the screen. One check I can do is I can try to print this value on the console. Let's print this value, print number, and let's print it with some string. Yeah, like this. And now let's rerun the app, and I input something here. Click on this send value, I click on this update, and I can see that here num equal num 100. So basically the value in this variable is updating, but it is not showing on the screen. but it is showing the new values showing in the console, but not on the screen. There is a lot of text shown here, so what I can do is I can apply the filter here. So I have used this num colon. What I can say, what I can do, I can write here num colon, and now it will just show this value that I want to print. So it is a nice feature in Visual Studio Code where we can filter the output. And again, we can see that it is no matter how many times I click this, just the um, value is updated in the console and not on the screen. So if you remember, or if you have some experience, that in Flutter to update the value on the screen, we need to call the set state method, set state. So here we are not calling the set state, so let's call the set state. So if I call the set state here, it is not even appearing here. See, it is not even appearing here. I mean, and I'm getting an error, and the error is the method set state is not defined for the type display screen. So basically, it is telling me that you cannot call this method once you are using the stateless widget. This method is defined for the stateful widget. So this is the problem here. So this means that in order to update the value on my screen, first of all, I need to have a stateful widget, and then in that stateful widget, I need to call this set state. So, so this is the reason why we need a stateful widget here. If we are just showing something on the GUI or some past argument to this class on the GUI, then we don't need the stateful widget. But if we want to show some updated value against some event on the screen, then we need a stateful widget. So I need to convert this widget to a stateful widget, and let's do that. So first we change this stateless widget to stateful widget, and then here, because we are using the stateful widget, so this build method, we are going to move it from here, and instead we are going to uh, call the create state method. State display screen create state display state, like this, and then I need to create this class display screen state extends, and this is going to be extended from this one. Yeah, so let's copy and paste this thing here, and then we have this. And now in this class uh, we are going to define the functionality. Now we are getting an error. An error is this number is, if I take my mouse cursor here, saying undefined name number. So this is the error that I'm in. So let's, for the time being, remove this code and focus on this error. So basically this number is passed to this stateful widget class, like the class that I derived from stateful. This number is passed here basically, and this is a separate class, and this is a separate class, and that's why it is not being accessible in here. So to make it this number accessible here, what I need to do is I need to prefix it with a widget keywords with small w, w-i-t-g. So this widget property dot. When I call this widget property, then um, what it can do is it can uh, allow me to access the variables that we have defined in the parent class. So widget dot number, now this is accessible, and let's run it to see whether it is showing any output or not. And we can see that it is being shown here. Now the next thing is that I need to show the updated value here. This value should be updated. Let's uh, try the same thing again by like changing this value and see whether it works or not this time. So for that, what we can do is here we can call again set state and see, we can see that it is accessible here. And in set state, we are going to um, call again widget dot number equal to 100 because it's a string value. So like this we call it, and let's run it again. So I input some number, send value, update, and now I can see that the value is being updated. So now the value of this state variable is being changed. And now we can do is we can increment this. Instead of assigning it some static value, we can increment this, and that we can do by uh, adding something here, because the number we want to increment, it must be in like numeric format. So what we can do is we can call in dot try parse, in dot try parse, and then widget dot number in that, and then plus one. So in dot try parse widget dot number plus one, and let's enclose this whole thing and call the toString method. And here we are getting some error that the operator plus can't be conditionally invoked because the receiver can be null. Try adding a null check to the target. So basically it's asking that we should put this exclamation sign that we can add over here. And now let's see whether it is updating. So let's pass some number 12, send value, update, and now we can see that we are updating the value. So this is the example where we can we have learned that why it is necessary to use the stateful widget, and the case when a stateful widget is passing data to another stateful widget. Thanks for watching.